So the Great Michigan Bicycle Trip was turning out to be every bit an adventure that I thought it was going to be. This all involves getting to, being in, and enjoying and dealing with the town of Marion, Michigan.
Grandpa, please tell a story.
Oh, that looks good. That looks so good. Okay, are you ready? Take a seat.
Take a seat, everybody!
Welcome to Grandpa Hill's True Story. They're always true, aren't they?
Not always.
Oh, yes, they are. They're as good as I can remember them.
Most of the time.
Okay. So anyways, does anyone remember what park we stayed in?
Wilson State Park.
Wilson State Park.
How do you remember that?
Do you remember how we got to that park?
Oh, yeah.
Girls.
It was my neighbors. The girls gave us a ride to the park.
What if they were following you the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I don't think so. We really did meet each other. So when we got going, we had to go to, we were going to pedal. We were going to go all the way to Cadillac and then to Henrietta, Michigan. And we got up in the morning. This is called the disaster day because there were two major disasters and one thing that almost became a problem.
But they're disasters.
But you don't want to hear about the disasters. You want to hear about the good things that happened.
No, I want to hear about the disasters.
Oh, about the disasters, okay. So the first one happened and it was still the morning. And we were bicycling. Because it's a bicycle trip. The Great Michigan Bicycle Trip. And we were traveling due west. We're on west. I think it was Michigan 60. I'll correct it if it wasn't. If that's not what it was. But it's a long, flat road. And it's sunny out. And we're just pedaling and pedaling. But we got the whole lane. Not both lanes. Just our lane. There's no traffic. There's two bikes up front. Two bikes behind. And we're just pedaling along. And if a car comes up behind us once in a while, it just pulls out and gets in the other lane because there's no cars coming and just goes around us. It was like we were motorcycles or something. We're just like pedaling along. Then this thing comes the other way and it gets closer and closer. And this thing is a tractor trailer. Who cares? It's just a tractor trailer. But the tractor trailer truck was probably going about 70 or 80 miles an hour. And there was a little bit of wind out. And when that tractor trailer came by, the bikes started going wobbly. One of them fell down. And then another one had to stop. My friend Bill had to stop. And then his bike went down. And so we were all scraped up a little bit. Our bikes were okay. Sort of. Because Bill's bike no longer would work. The back wheel wouldn't turn.
Why?
The bearings or something were wrong or something was busted in the back. Maybe all the weight, I told you we were traveling way too heavy. He had a lot of the weight in his side carriers. Like I had weight up front and some weight in the back, like in saddlebags, but he had a metal carrier in the back. So anyway, his bike was down, busted. So now we have to walk. Or we don't, three of us are riding, but one of us is walking. So sometimes we're walking together, and other times we'll just pedal a little bit ahead, but we're not going to leave Bill behind. So Bill's bike has to be pushed the whole way to Marion. Now, that's not 20 miles of pushing. That's only about 3 or 4 miles that we had to push the bike, and drag the tire because it wouldn't roll. So now we're getting into Marion. And do you think that maybe we're getting hungry? What do you think we had for lunch?
Nothing.
No, we did have. We went shopping for lunch at the grocery store. What do you think we bought?
Nothing.
No, we bought a loaf of bread. And we bought a jar of peanut butter.
And a jar of jelly.
And a jar of jelly. And what do you think we had for lunch?
Peanut butter jelly.
And peanut butter and jelly and peanut butter and jelly. And bread. And what do you think was left over? Was it like in the Bible story where there's all those baskets of food left over? Nope. There wasn't a crumb. There wasn't a piece of brown in the peanut butter jar. There wasn't a piece of purple in the grape jelly jar. It was cleaned, and then we rinsed it and drank the rinse water. We were hungry. So after we had lunch, we went to fix the bikes. Where are you going to work on a bike? You don't have a shop. We go to the hardware store. We go to the warehouse of the hardware store. And then the man lets us go upstairs in the hardware store, and there's this nice wood floor. And we're going to fix the bikes. He even loaned us some tools. We had some little tools, but, we could get the wheel off, but we had to get into the bearings to see if we could get some replaced. So as we go to open up to get the bearings, to see if we could fix the bearings or replace the bearings or find out why it wasn't rolling, we opened up the bike in the back. We opened the pieces, and there was about 100 little BBs, and they all came out and rolled on the wood floor and into the cracks on the barn. It was like a barn floor. There's no way we're going to find these things. And there's no bearings anywhere. And there's no bike shops anywhere. We now have 4 bikers and 3 bikes. End of trip.
And the bike went.
But you said there's more than 4 days.
Yeah, it wasn't the end of the trip. We had to be resourceful. What do you think we did?
We got little babies.
No, yeah, we would have liked to have a car at that point. No, what we did is we went into the town. We found a place to stay. There was a little city park down in the town of Marion that allowed camping. To our knowledge, you could camp there as long as you wanted, but you could camp there. And so we set up our tents, and then we made plans that the next day we would go to a bike store. Well, so we had the one disaster. That's that. Oh, the second disaster was the bearings. And then the third thing that happened is we needed to it was a little bit rainy and it was dark and we didn't really have anything to do because we have, remember it was around lunchtime when the bike broke. Then we, so we're set up camp early. Very short day for us. What are we going to do? We are going to go walk around town. Well, what happened was shortly after lunch and shortly after the bike was done, we met some girls again.
The same ones?
No, these are different girls. They were real happy and they were talking to us and we were talking to them. They told us about the park. We went and set up camp in the park. Then we came back and we were going to talk to them again, but they were gone. And then we came to needing some place to pass the time. So we found the town hall was open. So we went in, turned on the lights, and started playing card games. Oops. No one was mad. It was pretty interesting because it didn't seem like we were causing any trouble. We didn't think we were. So we enjoyed playing. It got to be 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We thought we'd ought to go back to our campsites. It was, the 2 tents. So on our way back to the campsites, we decide that we're going to make a phone call. Actually, we didn't make a phone call. I remember now what happened. We were walking past, we were about a block away from the town hall, about 2 blocks from the park, and we get to this, back then they had these things called phone booths. There'd be a telephone inside of a booth where you could go in and make a phone call. You put a dime in or a quarter in and you make a phone call. Well, this is what happened. We're walking past the phone booth and the phone rings. Why would the phone ring? There's nobody to talk to. There's nobody to call. So we go and we answer. Bill LeCure answers. It's the girls that we met earlier. And they're talking to us. So evidently...
How do they know?
I think they could see. I think they were watching us. I don't know, but I think that.
How did they call
Oh, the phone.
They know the phone number for the phone booth. And so they're somewhere out there. They can see us, and they call. No cell phones back then, nothing like that. They'd have to call like from a house phone. So we have this little conversation for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then they hang up. There's no charges for that. They just called that number. Then we're getting ready to get done with that phone call. Somebody's knocking on the phone booth. He wants to come in. There's like two boys in the phone booth, all excited about this little talk that we're having with these girls. And there's this man. He wants in the phone booth. No, he wants to talk to us. He's kind of old, and he's a little shaky. And he pulls out his identification, and he shows it to us, and he says, "You see here, I'm the fire chief of Marion. And you know who you were talking to on the phone? I'm pretty sure you were talking to," and gave the name like Karen or something like that. I don't remember. "And I'll let you know that she is the police chief's daughter. And the police chief is not going to approve of it." And we said to him, this was really surprising to us. We said back to him, he says, "Well, okay, thank you very much." And we were just getting ready to go back to the campsite. "Well, that's good. You know you can't camp there forever. You maybe want to get going." We can't get going. Our bikes are broken." "Well, you better get them fixed because you can't stay there forever." Now, that's not exactly what was said, but it was close to that. It was sort of like, "We'd like you not to be in this town." So we went back to the camp, and that is the end of day 4. I don't remember what else we ate. I'm sure we had a little bit of dinner, but don't know.
So we don't even know what you ate.
Okay, so when we got up in the morning, now it's day 5. What's going to happen on day 5?
A disaster.
Fix the bikes. Remember? Yeah. So, in order to fix
meet the guy again.
There is some meeting of the guys again. Yeah. How did you know? Okay. Yeah, just have a feeling. So,
his attitude.
Yeah, his attitude.
The boys again?
Yeah, we'll be with the boys again. So anyway, we have to hitchhike. We have to hitchhike to go get the bike parts. So Bill LeCure and I, we get our thumbs out, right out of our pockets. And we start hitchhiking. We have to hitch all the way to 115, I think 115, and then up to Cadillac. And in Cadillac, we find a bike shop. We have to buy the whole rear end of the bicycle, which back then was maybe about $25. Like, he's now broke. And he's upset that, he's out of money. So we got this bicycle tire, or wheel, and the whole thing. And then we have to hitchhike back. And we had a very interesting ride on the way back. I thought it was interesting because we had just been in Cadillac, Michigan. And we got picked up from an old man in a big, huge Cadillac. And we had this nice, comfy ride. These two dirty boys with the bike wheel, all the way back. So we got all the way back home. I'm not back home, but back to the camp in Marion. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
You're not nearly back home.
No, not back home. So, anyways, we're back in Marion, and it's the bad weather.
Not good.
Marion is not good, but we did see something in Marion that I had never seen before. A race. We saw a race when we were getting ready to leave Marion. And we didn't leave that day. We had to leave the next day after we had the bikes repaired. So I'm jumping ahead. So remember to ask me about the race. So I don't want to jump ahead too much. So now when we get back, we have some rainy weather again. We want to get our stuff dry. Some of us go over to the laundromat and dry some clothes and sleeping bags. Okay? And then they come back home. But we don't I'm back to our camp. But we don't all come back. I've been back at the campsite. But Bill and Dean are having a lengthy conversation.
With the girls?
No, not with the girls. No more girls. This is back with the fire chief and the police chief. Now, they said that somebody had broken into the laundromat and stolen money out of the machines. And that we were the somebody.
It was back.
But you didn't.
No, we weren't even there. I mean, Bill and I, we were hitchhiking all day, and when we had come back, this was after hours, the laundromat was closed, and they saw these boys in town again, and we were accused of, not me, I was back at the campsite. But yeah, we got accused, but the agreement was, after they had that long conversation, because I'm pretty sure they knew we didn't, was that you better get out of town. You better leave. So when we got up in the morning,
They're mean.
when we got up in the, I think they were being protective a little bit. They were worried about us. We hadn't actually done anything. We didn't do anything with the girls. We just talked to them. We didn't really do anything, but we were different, and we were from out of town, and they knew we were just boys, and that's what we had to deal with. But we did get to bed. We did get up in the morning, which would now be day 6, maybe, right?
Yeah, day 6.
Yeah, day 6, we get up in the morning. That's when we see the race. Guess what kind of race we saw in the morning?
A car race.
A race that I've never seen. I've seen car races before. Regular car races. This was a race with horses.
I've seen.
But these weren't regular horse races. This was horse races with carts. They had like 2-wheeled carts behind them. Trotters. Trotting races. These horses were trotting so fast, and they're all trotting together. It's like thunder.
In the car, yeah.
Yeah, so we only watched one heat. And I don't know if it was a county heat or what it was. And then we got pedaling. So Marion had been a challenge. It had been an adventure in itself. And I think we'll all remember Marion for the rest of our lives.